1. What's up, lovely people? It's Ramon and Jim from Galactic Ireland. Welcome to this week's episode number 4 of Galactic Weekly News. There's something in my eye and I can't see properly. 1 second. Welcome to episode number 4. This week we'll be talking about what we're going to be up to this weekend with regard to our stargazing tours due to the level 3 restrictions. And what else is going on up in the sky, Jimbo?
Level 3. How was the fishing today, by the way?
It was good, yeah. I caught myself 6 mermaids.
You do be looking very pirate.
I've been looking very pirate. I just got off the ship today.
It suits you now, I like
2
it.
whales, 6 mackerel, and the mackerel had eaten 6 mermaids.
That's fantastic.
That's some good stuff, yeah. But I would be sailing out to space if I had the chance now, you know.
Let's get off the planet
Let's
now.
get off the planet now. Trawling for some new star systems. So what's been going on up in space this week, Jimbo?
I've been looking at the old interweb for the exciting things that have been going on this week. And, I'm getting into satellites, man.
You are, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm digging them.
All right.
And we talked about them before.
Mm-hmm.
We reckon there's about 2,700 up there at the moment. There's thousands more coming. So SpaceX, tens of thousands they're talking about. Amazon are talking about a mega constellation of 3,000. I didn't know about that till today.
So it's not only Elon then.
Everyone's at it,
Okay.
you know, and this is going to be like internet for everyone. Everyone's going to be more connected.
Like we don't but are we not connected enough as it is, though?
I think check out the what's it called, the social
dilemma.
Oh yeah, that opened my eyes to some serious indoctrination from potential overuse of social media. But however, we're going for this big time, and there are a lot of companies now popping up because there's going to be a business in helping these things to stop from hitting each other.
I see.
So I was taking a look at it, and I was thinking, like, well, there's a few thousand up there. Sure, there's a lot of space up there, and they're not all at the same height or whatever. And so I was looking into it. So most of them are at about 200 to 2,000 kilometers above the Earth. So there's a lot of separation between them vertically, right? So there are a lot of chances.
Kind of like when planes are flying in lanes across the sky.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And then there's other stuff up there, a bit of space junk. The International Space Station's up there. That's about 410 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. So essentially these companies are popping up, and they're going to make a bit of money out of telling Elon and Amazon when there could be a near miss, and that then they have to go and do something about it. And it's pretty cool. There's a mob in the States, and they're called the U.S. Space Force 18th Space Control Squadron.
Wow.
Get out of town.
That's a crazy acronym.
So they send you a text and say, oh, your satellite's looking like hitting someone else's, and then you got to go and do something.
So it's basically like traffic lights, traffic wardens for satellites up there.
Those lads with the...
That's
yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
So that's what's going on. That's what's coming, guys. We're getting, like we were talking about last week about the Internet of Things, where they want to have everything kind of basically interconnected. Everything is connected up. All like your Wi-Fi is connected to your toaster, connected to your watch, connected to like your earrings, connected to your computer, connected to your stereo, where everything is going to be like automated. All you got to do is like think something eventually with Starlink, which is what Elon wants to bring out now, is the Starlink thing where or Neuralink. So where you could. It's all like you just think stuff and stuff happens.
Oh, come on.
So yeah, no, it's crazy.
Super
Yeah,
power
Neuralink.
stuff.
Yeah, Neuralink. Look it up. It's crazy. They tried to put the smart meter in my house yesterday.
Okay.
As well.
Did you go for it?
No, I
Why
didn't,
not?
because I don't like the idea that it is emitting a 2G frequency in my house and that it can be changed at any time. So I've said no. I've said no to my smart meter just for the moment because I'm not comfortable with it. Anyway, that's a whole. That's a whole other. That's a whole other.
Elon put another 60 space junk telescopes up there this week in one rocket launch. And then they said in the thing he's deorbited a whole bunch of the original ones.
How do you deorbit them? Just literally by a laptop?
Yeah, I had the exact same question, so I looked at it. So there's 2 ways to deorbit. You can use some power to slow it down, and then it just enters the Earth's atmosphere and mostly burns up.
Yeah.
And if they're too big to burn up, they have them go into somewhere in the South Pacific, into this like space junk, space graveyard.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the sea somewhere. So God knows.
So like exactly. So it's not exactly really good for the planet either, is it? Like
I don't think that's
like,
top notch. But
you know?
but I think most of them burn up. But then if they haven't got enough power to slow them down to do that, they actually just send them a bit further away from Earth.
And another thing I was
20,000
wondering,
miles
like
off
when you're
or
talking about that waste, where they put them, they just bring them back and put them down in the ocean. About that kid who invented this thing that goes and sweeps up the ocean.
All right, yeah.
And it cleans up all the rubbish.
All right,
But
yeah.
then where does the rubbish go?
Well, in the bin. Oh, they bury it on the land. Yeah, it's got it. Yeah, it's fucking right.
All right, you've just great. You've taken it out of the oceans, but then you've just.
I suppose they could
dumped it
recycle some of it and
just dumped the rest of it somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there a black hole in our backyard? This is another one that we've been looking at this week.
In your backyard?
Yeah, in a backyard.
I've been out there, man. I don't see one.
In our solar system, in the backyard of our solar system, is there actually a black hole? I don't know how many of you have heard about Planet 9. It is a yet unobserved object, but it is thought to orbit about 20 billion miles from the sun. Some astronomers contend that it might be a black hole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it contains it started in about 2016. There was speculation after they looked at a few ice balls beyond Pluto, a few billion miles beyond Pluto, and they said
ice balls,
big ice balls. And they said it could be evidence of a previously unknown object way out in the dark.
Okay.
And their calculations have the object 10 times the size of Earth.
Okay.
And it occupies an egg-shaped orbit around the sun.
Well spotted. Still, 20 million miles away, and they just
20 billion.
20 billion. Oh, stop!
20 billion miles away,
and they've found it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's rocking around it there.
Let's see
So
what happens.
they think it could be a black hole, and might not necessarily be a planet, but they're still working on trying to actually get a visual on the thing. But obviously, you can't get a visual on a black hole. Well, we did earlier on, late last year. We did for the first time photograph a black hole from a galaxy millions and millions of miles away. So if they can do that, if they can get a picture of that outside the solar system, then we know that it will actually be there.
Do you know what I just thought of, right? When I was a kid, I really wanted to be an explorer, yeah? I was reading about these explorers that, some of the people who sort of found the first time walked in certain parts of the earth or whatever, and discovered stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't end up doing that, man. Do you know that? You knew that. But like, this is what's happening in space, isn't it? Like, it is like, people talk about the final frontier and that, but there's just such a world of discovery out there.
Big time.
Every week we're unearthing
new stuff
that has massive implications for life on Earth.
But even though when we go out and do the stargazing tours, we're looking at a lot of the same stuff, but the light feels different every time you look at it.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a different buzz.
It's a different buzz every time.
Yeah,
it's a different buzz every time. They're kind of like personalities. I'm not always like this.
I thought
all the time. I have good days, I have bad days, but some days I'm like, and other days I'm a little bit more like,
I like you every day, man. Whatever's going on is good for me.
Totes love.
The other thing I was checking out was the giant Magellan telescope is a big beast of a thing they're building in Chile. In the Atacama Desert. Yeah. And they like that spot because it's dark skies all the time.
And it's the soft flats as well. They have soft flats there. Okay, and it's quite high up.
Oh yeah, class.
So that they can get out of the kind of
dark skies.
They can get dark skies, but they're clean atmosphere, exactly. So they get it's like basically they get a clean window. They're not having to look through any pollution or any kind of fog or any sort of like diffraction or whatever stuff that might be hindering the view. So the higher up they can get, the better, and also the cooler the air, the cleaner and the crisper they can get better views. Like,
can be cooler in the desert, and this thing's going to be like 10 times more powerful than Hubble. And Hubble's been great.
Hubble's been awesome. Wait till James Webb comes out, the James Webb telescope as well, guys. That's going to be a game changer. But anyway, go on.
This is a land-based one. James Webb's going to be like out there.
They're going to stick it out
further out there. And like I was reading about it, I was getting all excited, and then I was a bit disappointed because it's not going to be ready till 2029, which isn't miles off, but still. They got together a bunch of astronomers to have a talk about what they're going to be able to find with this thing, and they started to talk a lot about looking for extraterrestrial life, SETI, and SETI and all of that kind of thing.
Which is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Okay, cool.
It's a thing
that kicked off. I think that I read it's been about 70 years since we started systematically looking through the solar system and beyond into the galaxy for extraterrestrial life.
The Fermi paradox. You can talk about that as well.
Oh yeah, so this fella Fermi, I think he was kicking around about 70 years ago. I hope I've got that right. And his big question was, where is everyone? And
if they are out there.
Yeah, so he took a mathematical approach to it and said, well, if there's this many 400 billion stars in the Milky Way,
it's just a lot of averages, isn't it?
And then there could be 100 billion suns with planets, and then he worked on a probability kind of idea, and then if this small percentage of them had life on Earth, life on one of those planets.
Just like us.
Well, then, and he said then, well, hang on a minute, a lot of those suns are a lot older than our sun, so they could have populations of beings that are a lot older
than
and
us,
have already done a lot about getting off the place, and we've only been looking at that for like 70 years.
So really it's just a drop in the ocean, the amount of time we've been looking out there. So like we're going like, well, why haven't we seen anything yet? I think it's yet to be seen. Do you know what I mean? As our technology gets better and better and better, we're going to start seeing further and further and further. We're going to be able to see things in more detail. But also, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, who knows? They could be on the way towards where we are.
Yeah.
You never know. It's just an interesting thing to think about, you know. But don't forget, we're quite far out in the galaxy. Remember, I always do this when we do our tours. I use a frisbee and a laser pointer to kind of show where we live in the Milky Way, and we live about 2/3 of the way out, or just under 2/3 of the way out. So we're quite obscure where we are. We're kind of out in the sticks, whereas down towards the center of the galaxy, it's a lot more dense. It's like Manhattan down there. It's like a big metropolis of just stars. You know, can you imagine what the stars look like down towards the center of the galaxy? Be like perpetually daytime because there's so many stars in the sky. So anyway, what we're talking about the Fermi paradox, and why haven't we seen them, and why aren't they here? So yeah, it's just basically the distances are so vast. You know, the distances are so vast. That even traveling at light speed, it'll take you 100,000 years to get across the Milky Way at light speed. So,
and we've spent 70,
we've spent 70 years looking. So really, we've only started. So
it feels like spending like 5 minutes looking for your keys in the desert or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
pretty
70 years feels like you haven't really applied yourself there, have you?
No.
You know, you haven't really put the time in.
You haven't put the
do you
time
know what
in.
I mean? So I think we got to keep listening. But there was another thing I was reading about was in 1977. They feel like we might have come close. We might have intercepted a transmission from an extraterrestrial.
Oh, was that the WOW message?
That's it.
Yeah, go on.
That's it.
You riff on that.
That's it. Well, there was a telescope,
It's true
sort
story.
of a radio telescope. I'm trying to remember where it was, in Delaware.
Yeah.
I don't even know exactly
of all
where it is.
places. Phibsborough.
I think this is Delaware in the US. And so they could store enough data for about a week's worth of stuff, so they had to keep going through the printouts every week and then chucking them out and hitting reset on the thing and listening again. And at one stage some bloke was there eating his cornflakes, and he got the printout and spat the cornflakes everywhere and saw this thing, and he just wrote wow on there.
Yeah.
It was like a bit of a readout from something.
Yeah.
And wrote wow, so it became known as the wow signal. And like this telescope was running for 24 years, and they found bugger all after that. But they spent
they looking in the same spot, right? They kept
same
looking,
spot, and it was in Sagittarius, right? So which
is towards the center of the galaxy, Sagittarius, the constellation.
We've been looking at that the last few weeks. We've been looking into that area.
Yeah.
So, well, it's quite interesting then that it came from near the center of the galaxy, downtown,
which is amazing.
When you're describing that we're out on an arm of the galaxy, sort of out near the edge, I sometimes get quite a lonely buzz, like, you know, and then it's nice to do that. And when we do that on the tour, you're standing there on the Earth and you're talking about the Milky Way, and you're starting to get a real sense of like, this thing is so big, it's hard to comprehend.
And then when people see it through the gear, they see the depth in it. Then when they see like something like the Perseus,
it's just nice vibe. Yeah.
It's a nice vibe because then they get it. They get the size of it. They get the sense of the scale.
What'd you have for dinner, by the way, off that plate?
What did I have? I had a red prawn curry and rice. Given to me by the lovely Parastool of the Blue Orchid.
All right, yep.
Up on Newtown Park Avenue. Highly recommend it, guys.
Are they sponsoring this episode?
No, they're not, but I want to give them a shout out because it was a delicious meal.
It's a good meal.
And they're good pals of mine, and it's a really good spot. So yeah, check out the Blue Orchid up in Newtown Park Avenue. It's a Thai place. They do really good curries.
All your space news and takeaway recommendations this evening. I've one more little bit of news. That's it.
All right. What is that then?
I like how interested you are in this final piece of news for me.
Tell me, I'm very. Okay. Tell the old sailor.
Let me let you in on a little secret here about Venus.
Okay, go on.
Venus may well have had an Earth-like atmosphere and water on its surface back in the past. It's a theory.
We were saying that. Yeah, go on.
Venus is a little bit closer to the sun than we are. It's about 108 million kilometers away. We're about 150. It's a lot hotter there.
Yeah.
It's about 470 degrees on average there.
Very toasty.
And to work out whether, this is just a theory at this stage, because to work out for sure whether there was water and an atmosphere there, you kind of want a sample off of Venus, but it's hot and it's hard to get to. So these fellas have come up with a theory that every now and then there's a bit of interplanetary pinball, and a meteor comes into the solar system and hits a planet. And when I say every now and then, every 100 million years or so, and shoots a bit of that planet off. And because Venus is relatively close to us, 42 million kilometers away,
it's pretty.
some
That's
of those
like
rocks. Yeah, like
it's Fibsborough.
Fibsborough. Someone set up a bomb in Fibsborough, and a few rocks landed in Black Rock. And
why do you think we're called Black Rock?
so they're thinking some of those could have landed on the Earth, and some of those could have landed on the Moon.
Yeah.
The ones that landed on the Earth, because it's a 100 million year timescale, have probably by now been buried by geological shifts of the tectonic plates and geological processes, so they're going to be harder to find.
Yeah.
But on the Moon, you don't have a lot of that activity, so they're going to be easier to find up there.
Yeah,
so their
of course.
theory is we don't need to go to Venus to get Venus samples.
We'll
go
go
to the Moon. So
Yeah.
If we're not there already.
exactly. Oh yeah. Well,
I didn't say that, did I?
So
there's something else here that you were mentioning. That asteroids. What was it? A ground body evidence suggests that the planet Venus. Oh no, that is it. That's what you were talking about.
That's what I'm on about.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So they're gonna. It looks like on the back of their theory, NASA in the next mission to the Moon is going to give these guys a bit of time to collect a whole heap of dirt,
and they're going
bring
to
it
send a
back.
woman up. They're going to send a woman up
Awesome.
on the next time they're going back to the Moon. Remember?
Guys, yeah.
They said they wanted to. It's about time, right? Like, why were only men going to the Moon? What's
Brilliant.
that about? Like,
Yeah.
if anyone is more connected to the Moon, it's the women, right?
Of course.
Like, they'll probably go up there and find loads of stuff that we just missed. Like, lads, like the door was over here. It's actually a Death Star.
I said blokes up there, and of course they had to like drive a car all over the place and hit golf balls. Like, didn't they hit a golf ball?
No, the women will go up and they'll
What the
just
fuck
be like,
were they doing, wasting time hitting golf
hitting
balls
golf
on the Moon?
balls.
Like,
No, that's bullshit. Anyway, it's about time they sent women up. I think they'll do a better job, to be honest.
yeah.
So, Fermi, you said that you talked about that.
we covered
Did we cover
the
it?
news, yeah.
Okay, so this
What's
weekend
happening,
then, Saturday night, I think we've only got like 4 places left now for
Okay.
Saturday night's tour, which is on in the North Bull Islands.
Great spot.
Over by Clontarf. We did one there. Was it last week or the week? Yeah, it was
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. It was really, really good. It's a great spot. It's for city views. It's pretty bloody good. I was impressed now, I have to say, because we're so used to going to Wicklow, but it's a good second place. The fact that we can still stay in Dublin and still get good views because there's no street lights down there. Technically, yes, you are still in the city, but at least we're a little bit out from the city, and we still got great views. We can still see Andromeda. We can still see all the really amazing star clusters, and we can still see the planets in great detail. So yeah, it was really, really cool.
So nice,
Saturday night, 8:15. So if you're really interested and wanting to join us on Saturday night, click on the link below and get in touch with us. Either check us out on Facebook and give us a message and like our page. On Instagram, we are Galactic_Ireland on Instagram. Twitter machine.
At Galactic Island.
At Galactic Ireland. And if you check out our website, we're at galacticIreland.com. And hopefully we will see you guys on some of you on Saturday night for our planets tour. Mars is the closest it's been in 15 years. I got that right this time.
That's cool.
We got Saturn still around. We can still see the rings. We're going to see the moons of Jupiter. And the moon, is the moon around?
Yeah.
There is a moon.
It's waning, but
it's
there,
waning, but it's there. So that's always cool to see as well. Plus all the usual greatest hits of all the great star clusters that are going on right now. It is the greatest.
You're going to bring your guitar?
Yeah, I might do.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll
That'd
sing
be a
Starman.
bonus. Oh, that'd be nice. All right.
All right,
You
guys.
heard it
Well,
here.
listen, thanks a million for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week, and hope to see you guys soon. Have a good one. Thanks a million. Yeah. All right.
Excrement.
Yeah.